AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her fiancé's behavior? I, 32F, have always been close to my sister, Emily, 30F. We grew up in a pretty tight-knit family, and while we had the usual sibling squabbles, we supported each other through thick and thin. Over the last year or so, Emily got engaged to Mark, 35M. When she first told me about him, I was happy for her, but something about Mark rubbed me the wrong way almost immediately. I kept my feelings to myself at first because I didn't want to cause drama, especially since Emily seemed genuinely happy. As their relationship progressed, I started noticing red flags that made me increasingly uncomfortable. It began with little things. Mark would interrupt me constantly during conversations, dismiss my opinions, and often made sarcastic or condescending remarks disguised as jokes. I thought maybe he was just awkward around me, or we simply didn't click, so I tried to give him the benefit of the doubt. However, things got worse after the engagement. Mark started showing controlling behavior toward Emily in subtle ways. He would text her incessantly when she was out with friends, demand updates on her whereabouts, and get noticeably irritated if she didn't answer quickly enough. Emily brushed it off as him being protective and caring, but I knew it wasn't healthy. On top of that, Mark's demeanor towards me deteriorated. At family gatherings, he would make passive-aggressive comments about my job, my choices, and even about how I raised my dog. It was never direct confrontation, but always enough to make me feel small and unwelcome. A few months ago, during a family dinner, Mark made a snide remark about my weight in front of everyone. I tried to laugh it off, but it stung. Emily didn't say anything to defend me, and when I brought it up privately later, she said I was overreacting and that Mark was just joking. This was a pattern. Whenever I tried to express discomfort, Emily dismissed it or accused me of being jealous or hostile towards Mark. The final straw happened about 6 weeks ago. Emily invited me to meet with her and Mark to discuss the wedding plans. During the meeting, Mark made several belittling remarks about my career, my lifestyle, and even suggested that I was too sensitive and dramatic when I pushed back on his ideas for the wedding. He also told me I should stop causing problems if I wanted to remain part of the family. I left the meeting feeling humiliated and upset. I told Emily I didn't think I could be part of the wedding because I couldn't be around someone who treated me that way. Emily was furious and said I was being selfish, ruining her special day, and choosing to alienate her over a misunderstanding. She said I had to get over it for the sake of family harmony. Since then, things have been tense. Emily has been calling and texting me constantly, begging me to come to the wedding and to try to be civil. She says that Mark has promised to behave and that I'm making the entire family uncomfortable. Our parents are caught in the middle, pleading with me to attend and warning me not to let this destroy the family. I understand that a wedding is important and that Emily wants everyone there, but I don't think I should have to tolerate disrespect and emotional abuse just for the sake of one day. I've tried to set boundaries and explain my feelings calmly, but Emily refuses to see Mark's faults or acknowledge how he's treated me. So, AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding because of her fiancé's behavior? Is it unreasonable to prioritize my mental health and dignity over attending an event that feels like it would be a hostile environment? Or am I the one making this about myself at the expense of my sister's happiness? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for telling my sister she can't bring her newborn to my wedding, even though everyone else is invited with their kids. My fiancé and I have been planning our wedding for over a year now. We're both in our early 30s, and most of our friends and family have kids, so we've been pretty clear from the beginning that the wedding is going to be family-friendly. Kids are absolutely allowed, and we expect a few toddlers, some teenagers, and everything in between to be there. The venue is a spacious outdoor garden with a separate kids area, and we've arranged for babysitters and activities to keep the little ones entertained. Now, my sister, who's 27, just had her first baby 3 months ago. She lives about 2 hours away and is very close to me. She's a single mom, And while she hasn't been the easiest to deal with emotionally over the years, I love her and want her at my wedding. But here's the thing. She insists on bringing her newborn, who is, as I said, just 3 months old. The problem is that our wedding is a 6-hour event starting in the late afternoon, with a lot of standing, walking, and noise. We're having a live band, a dance floor, fireworks, and a whole lot of excitement. My fiancé and I both have a lot of experience with babies, and we worry about how stressful this environment would be for a newborn. The baby is not vaccinated yet, and there will be a large crowd, including people who are elderly or have compromised immune systems. We're also trying to avoid anything that might upset or overstimulate the baby, and frankly, there's no private quiet space for nursing or naps. My sister has been very persistent about wanting to bring her baby. She says she can manage it and that she won't let the baby disturb anyone. She also says that because it's family, she deserves to bring her child no matter what. When I gently suggested that maybe it would be better for her to find a trusted babysitter or family member to watch the baby for the day, she got upset and accused me of trying to exclude her and punish her for being a single mom. I tried to explain that it's not about exclusion, but about what's best for everyone, especially the baby. I even offered to pay for a professional babysitter nearby and cover the cost of a hotel for the baby and babysitter if she wanted. I wanted to make sure she could come and enjoy the day without the stress of managing a newborn in that environment. She refused, saying she doesn't trust anyone else with her baby and that no one understands how hard it is for her to be away from her child. This led to a big argument between us. She accused me of being selfish and not thinking about her feelings. She said she's already stressed out being a single mom and that I'm adding to her burden. I told her that I'm sorry she feels that way, but I can't risk the baby's health and comfort, and I also can't guarantee a pleasant experience for other guests if the baby is upset. At this point, my parents are involved, and they're split. My mom thinks I'm being too rigid and should make an exception, while my dad agrees with me that it's a safety and comfort issue. Some friends who have kids say that bringing a newborn to a big event like a wedding is generally not advisable, but others say I'm being unreasonable and that family comes first. I feel caught in the middle. I want my sister there and I want her to enjoy the day, but I also need to think about the overall experience for everyone, especially given the size and nature of the event. So, AITA for telling my sister she can't bring her newborn to the wedding, even though everyone else with kids is invited. AITA for refusing to let my sister's fiancé stay at my house after he publicly humiliated me during our family dinner. I, 33F, have always tried to be the peacemaker in my family. My sister, Emma, 29F, and I have had our ups and downs, but lately, things have been especially tense because of her fiancé, Jake, 31M. I'll try to explain everything as clearly as possible because there's a lot going on. Emma and Jake got engaged about 6 months ago. When she told me, I was happy for her, but also a little hesitant. I never really got along with Jake. He's charismatic and charming on the surface, but when he lets his guard down, he can be pretty mean-spirited. My gut told me something was off, but I kept those feelings to myself because I didn't want to rock the boat. Our family is pretty close-knit. We get together often, especially for big holidays or birthdays. I live in a different city, so I don't see them as much as I used to, but I always try to make it back for important events. About a month ago, Emma and Jake came to my city for a weekend visit. Since Emma doesn't have a car here and Jake was busy with work most days, they asked if Jake could crash at my place for a couple of nights. I was a bit reluctant, but agreed because I wanted to be supportive. The first night went fine. We had dinner, chatted a bit, and Jake seemed mostly polite. The next day, we had a family dinner at a nearby restaurant to celebrate Emma's birthday. Everyone was there: my parents, Emma's fiancé, my siblings, and me. During the dinner, Jake started making these jokes that were clearly aimed at me, but disguised as teasing. At first, I brushed it off. It was mostly about my job. I work in marketing, my choice to stay single, and even some digs at my appearance. The room was awkward, but nobody said anything. I tried to laugh it off, but it was uncomfortable. Then, halfway through the meal, Jake said something that really crossed the line. He loudly joked about how surprising it was that someone like me could even manage to hold down a job, let alone date anyone. The whole table went silent. I felt humiliated, and even my parents looked shocked. Emma didn't say a word. I gathered myself and quietly excused myself to the restroom. I stayed there for a few minutes, trying to calm down, then returned to the table. I didn't say anything to Jake, but I avoided looking at him for the rest of the dinner. Afterwards, my parents pulled me aside and said I should talk to Emma about what happened. I wanted to, but every time I brought it up, Emma just said Jake didn't mean it that way and that I was being too sensitive. A few days later, Jake asked if he could extend his stay at my apartment for a few more days due to some work commitments. I told him no. I wasn't comfortable having him there anymore, especially after what happened. Emma was furious when I told her, saying I was being petty and making things harder for them. Our last conversation ended with Emma saying that if I didn't let Jake stay, she might reconsider our relationship as siblings. She claimed I was being selfish and creating unnecessary drama. Since then, family gatherings have become awkward. My parents are caught in the middle, and I'm still upset about how Jake treated me. I've tried reaching out to Emma to explain why I'm hurt, but she mostly ignores me or says I'm overreacting. So, AITA for refusing to let my sister's fiancé stay at my place after he humiliated me in front of our family? Should I just suck it up and let him stay to keep the peace? Or was I justified in setting that boundary?